So many interesting choices in this movie. I guess when life gets you down, you just gotta start shoving dogs and children up your ass. How am I supposed to explain this movie without getting age restricted? Aren't you glad you're here? With all the reboots and remakes coming out of Hollywood's butt recently, I've been questioning whether or not there are actually any original ideas at this point. I'm not against reboots or remakes overall, but when the market is oversaturated with them, I kind of don't think it's unfair to feel that way. But then something happened. A film was brought to my attention thanks to the Camp Counselor podcast over at More Butter, which you should definitely check out. In their episode about the film Dead Sushi, host Kenny JD brought up an obscure film called Butt Boy, and my reaction was very similar to Mr. Gigi's.
Butt Boy?
Yeah.
Killer ass?
This guy vacuums people up his butt. Do I have your attention now? And my first thought was, this has to be an obscure early 2000s film, and Mike Judge just had to have done it. But surprisingly, this is actually a very serious movie, which I found very hard to accept, so I checked it out for myself, and yeah, Kenny JD was right. It took a very serious approach to a very gross and disgusting subject matter. Honestly, one of the most unique films I've ever seen, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, even if it did traumatize my poor brain. Before we continue, disclaimer, spoilers. Spoiled butts. There, I said it. Chip Gutchell, puns, Gutchell? Yeah, okay. Chip Gutchell, played by co-writer and director Tyler Cornack, has a boring and lame job. His wife won't give him the time of day. Life just sucks for Chip. Pun. On top of which, he has every middle-aged man's nightmare ahead of him, the dreaded prostate exam. After an awkward face-off between him and his doctor, Chip assumes the position, and this man's face says it all. He has the epiphany of discovering what he's been missing his entire life. His disconnected wife isn't down for any sort of finger play in the bedroom. How am I supposed to explain this movie without getting age restricted? So self-servicing his newfound addiction will have to suffice. He starts out smallish, bar of soap, the TV remote, and the family dog named Rocky. Rocky?
Oh man.
They're hanging up reward posters in the park when Chip sees a mom with her baby and becomes fixated on the child. Yep, we're going there. I guess when life gets you down, you just gotta start shoving dogs and children up your ass. This is gonna get age restricted, I know it. An investigation and search party for the missing child ensues all over town, and Chip breaks down over what he has done. He kisses his wife goodbye while she's asleep and hangs himself in the shed with a garden hose. And that's Butt Boy. Guys, we made it. Props to you for making it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, no, that's just the first 14 minutes. Aren't you glad you're here? We're introduced to Detective Russell Fox, played by Tyler Rice, who I should say does a freaking amazing job in this movie. We get this awesome title sequence that really hits a nostalgic chord with me, and my first thought was how much it reminded me of Police Squad, and how movies typically used to start off with a long title sequence like this. Really hits those nostalgic feels. Russell Fox is an alcoholic attending his first AA meeting only a few days after his last drink. He's introduced to Chip, who we find out is alive because the garden hose snapped, and they're paired up as each other's sponsors. He opens up to Chip about how he doesn't have any kids and about his alcoholism, and how he pretty much misses everything about it, even the hangovers. Fox's explanation about how he misses drinking triggers something in Chip, something he also misses. An addiction he's been using AA to keep at bay all these years. You know what it is. And later that night, he's making eyes with a pawn piece from the Sorry game. Pawn pieces like
stranger danger.
And the addiction starts all over again. And now begins the obligatory Chip shoving things up his butt montage, and intertwined with that is Fox and his crew on a ruthless drug bust. The mashup of Chip going to town on his back end in juxtaposition of a violent, bloody raid just, I don't know. So many interesting choices in this movie. I love it. Chip goes AWOL and doesn't return Russell's phone calls, again because he's too busy. You know, and we start finding out that the root of Russell's drinking problem. He's been lovesick over his ex-girlfriend who is now with another man, and now he needs the support of his sponsor to stay away from the drink. Well, like I said, Chip's too busy sticking... And to make things worse at Chip's job, it's bring your kids to work day. And we all know what happens next. Another child goes missing. And who is assigned to the case to find the missing child? Well, none other than Detective Fox himself. Fox's first line of duty is to talk to the IT guy at Chip's work after all the security footage was tampered with. And who's the IT guy? Well, Chip, of course. The interview is extremely awkward, and Fox immediately zeroes in on him as prime suspect. He investigates the floor of his office cubicle and finds a poo pellet.
Ew.
And through all the noise at his job, Chip's wife finds out he's been going to AA and lying to her for the last 5 years.
You lied to me
the time when I found you in the shed with the hose around your neck?
Wait, 5 years? Didn't it say 9 years at the start? Yeah, 9 years. Did I miss something here? Am I stupid? If anybody can clear this up for me in the comments, please do. Otherwise,
Bad movie.
Chip tries to dispose the disc of security footage up his... while his wife yells at him from outside. He hesitates and hides the disc in the cabinet underneath the sink instead. Okay, side note, that must be the lowest quality footage of all time because this is a floppy disk. Those of us who are old enough to remember only has 1.44 megabytes. Enough space for some text documents, maybe a couple of low quality pictures, but not videos. It's a subtle yet clever joke that only us old people would pick up on. Chip finds a kitty cat in a cage in his car, planted by Fox. Fox tails him to a remote location where Chip disappears with the cat. Fox pursues him only to find the empty cage and another poo pellet. Oh, no! He goes on to tell his boss that he suspects Chip has been shoving objects, animals, and children up his back door and growing stronger as a result. Fair enough, you suspect Chip is responsible for the missing child. But how exactly did you come up with that conclusion, sir? Did you catch him in the act of shoving? There's no scene to support this. Bad movie.
Bad.
In other words, he came up with this theory all on his own with only poop as his evidence.
Think I'm gonna throw up.
Poop the size of, rodent poop. Oh, this video's gross, I'm sorry.
You suck!
After another AA meeting, Chip invites Fox over to his house for dinner with his wife. Chip invites Fox over to his house for dinner so his wife can meet him, who ends up getting a bit for schnicket.
You boys better not
dig into my wine, okay?
Which is always the most hospitable thing to do when you invite an alcoholic over to your house. Anyway, on his way out, Fox asks to use his bathroom before he takes off, because he's got a long drive ahead of him. This is the most hilariously awkward scene in the movie. I gotta go poop. Right now? Yeah. Can I use the bathroom? Yeah. Sure. Chip becomes unsettled when Fox is in the bathroom and tries to break the door down, and Fox immediately becomes suspicious and snoops around and finds the disc underneath the bathroom sink. He breaks the door down and has Chip at gunpoint. His wife wakes up over the loud noise, giving Fox the opportunity to get out peacefully. Chip follows him out to the middle of nowhere, and the two fight, and Fox ruthlessly beats the shit out of him. Back in the car, he's calling for backup when the windows of his car breaks over the force of Chip's rear vacuum, and he reclaims the disc with the security footage. With cheeks a-flappin', Fox barely escapes the abyss of his mighty colon. With his theory now confirmed, but only to him, he reports to his boss, only to have his badge confiscated for beating up Chip, who's now in the hospital, but also beating him up over such a ridiculous theory that he's actually murdering children up his butt. This was the thing that impressed me most about this film. Despite its subject matter, it's actually really intense and suspenseful. Even though it takes on such a very serious tone, there's nothing phony about it at all. I was actually invested and believed that this was actually happening in this world. Sure, there's comedy sprinkled in, but it's a proper balance. Good movie. Good. So with Fox's life turned upside down, he goes on a pretty massive bender. He snaps and breaks into the evidence room at the precinct, and plot twist. Yes, there's actually a plot twist here, and it's actually a really good one. Fox digs up the evidence from the missing child from 9 or 5 years ago, and we discovered that it was his child that went missing way back then, and he's convinced that Chip is the one that's behind it, or in front of it, because his butt is behind. Fox pursues him at a laser tag party that he was invited to at dinner. A shootout ensues, and Fox becomes Chip's next victim. And now the movie goes to a level that I was not expecting. Fox isn't dead, but instead, he's shrunken down and inside Chip's fart-filled cave. Literally.
Run.
Everything that he shoved up there, the sorry piece, the TV remote, the dog, and yes, even the children are still there, and somehow still alive. Meanwhile, Chip is regarded as a hero for stepping in the face of danger and saving everybody at the laser tag party, and Fox is basically considered a fugitive on the run at this point. 1 month later, Chip is getting another prostate exam, alerting Fox and the children where the escape hatch is. it's his butthole. Chip is reaping all the benefits of being a hero, making himself look like king shit at the AA meetings, blaming Fox for everything, and he gets a new promotion at his work. And on top of that, he's set to receive an award from the police academy for his bravery, saving all those lives at the laser tag party. Chip, you fucking suck, pun. Chip's world begins to turn upside down as things start to reappear in the bathroom. I won't show you the visuals of this, just, yeah, it's
A lot of poo.
so to take matters in his own hands, he downs an entire bottle of stomach elixir, which causes one of the children to start burning and die, which leads us to the ending. I didn't see this ending coming, and I'm not going to spoil it. I know if you've made it this far, you're probably pissed because I spoiled everything else, and now I'm going to blue ball you all. I guess all I can say is go watch it. I actually really recommend this. It's definitely not something I'd recommend to everyone, but if you're into dark and quirky and, I don't know, disgusting, you'll enjoy it. Is this the most unique film of all time? Well, it's definitely one of the most unique movies I've ever seen, and I know there's a lot in this B-movie realm that I don't know about or I'm just learning about, so I don't know, I can't give it that definitive title, but it's up there. Is it perfect? No. Is it a fun watch? Yes. Thank you to the camp counselors at More Butter for bringing this to my attention. I had a good time. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, it really means a lot to me, and we'll see you in the next video. Bam! Another video in the books. Let's go, guys. Yeah.